In the temporarily occupied Donetsk, dozens of local residents took to the streets. They are holding empty bottles and buckets in their hands, and the reason for this is the problem with water supply that has not been resolved by the occupation and Russian authorities. Water has been a luxury in Donetsk for several weeks now. This is why a riot has started in the city, and residents are demanding the resignation of Gorlita Denis Pushilin. This was reported on Telegram by the head of the Center for the Study of Occupation, Petr Andriushchenko. According to him, the occupation authorities, led by Pushilin, have been sabotaging the solution to the water supply problem for years, and recently the situation has worsened. Andriushchenko noted that there is no normal water supply in other temporarily occupied cities of Donetsk Oblast either. In particular, this concerns Mariupol. The protest mood has already spread to the military of the aggressor country, Russia. They also accuse Pushilin of inaction and hint that they can help change the government in Donetsk. It should be noted that residents of the temporarily occupied city have been trying to get through to the Russian authorities for several weeks because of the problem with the water supply. At the same time, as reported by Ukrainian journalist Denis Kazansky, they are demanding punishment for the local occupation authorities. Donetsk residents blame the pseudo-officials who brought the city to the brink of an environmental disaster. So they turned to Putin with a demand to take the situation under personal control. At the same time, locals understand that it is not Ukraine that is to blame for this situation, but the occupation authorities of the Russian Federation. Therefore, they appealed to Putin with a demand to take personal control of the situation and punish all those involved in the ecological catastrophe that the city is approaching. They say that the problem is corruption and negligence of the occupation administration, that they did not build the promised water pipeline. They call the current situation a mockery. Ukrainian journalist Denis Kazansky noted, "People are outraged by everything, from water supply schedules to water quality and prices in stores and tariff plans." In a rare admission, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov acknowledged that Russia is currently fighting the war in Ukraine without any allies, a situation the country has never faced before in its history. Speaking to the Territory of Meaning Forum, Lavrov described Russia's current international position as one of isolation. Russia is fighting alone against the entire West, Lavrov said. For the first time in its history, Russia is battling the entire West without support. Russian Foreign Minister said, "We have a lot to do, and the most important thing we need to do is to defeat our enemy. For the first time in its history, Russia is fighting against the entire West alone. We had allies during both World War I and World War II. Now we have no allies on the battlefield, so we must rely only on ourselves. We must not lapse into or show weakness," Lavrov said. The Russian FM added that Western elites are openly showing their willingness to kill Russian soldiers. According to Lavrov, the Europeans seriously want to defeat us, and this, in my opinion, is confirmed every day. He noted that the attitude towards this among European elites has become almost self-evident. Also, the Russian FM drew attention to the fact that the West cannot give up the hegemony that it has enjoyed for the past 500 years. Lavrov believes that this is especially clearly expressed in today's Europe, where they strive to subordinate everything to their will and do not want to take into account even pragmatic considerations. Lavrov further emphasized that Russia would continue to pursue what it considers its legitimate security demands, which include Ukraine's non-alignment with NATO, a halt to NATO's eastward expansion, and the recognition of territorial realities, essentially Russia's annexation of Ukrainian territories. These, according to Lavrov, are non-negotiable conditions for any potential peace settlement. But recently, hundreds of mercenaries from 48 countries recruited to fight for Russia against Ukraine have been identified in an investigation by the independent Russian media outlet Important Stories. Despite Russian President Vladimir Putin's earlier claims that Russia had no need for foreign fighters, the data reveals widespread recruitment through official military selection points in Moscow. Journalists obtained names and nationalities of the mercenaries through a leaked database from the United Medical Information and Analytical System of Moscow. According to the publication, these individuals passed through Moscow's recruitment center between April 2023 and May 2024. Of the more than 1,500 foreigners processed, at least 1,300 have been identified by nationality. Nepal tops the list, joining the Russian army. The influx reportedly began in small groups in mid-2023, escalating to over 370 Nepalese recruits passing through the Moscow selection point in October alone. Other nationalities include citizens of Sri Lanka, China, India, Serbia, Cuba, and Latvia. From former Soviet states, recruits include citizens of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Moldova. North Korean troops had fought alongside Russia since late 2024. They saw combat in Russia's Kursk Oblast, but didn't cross into Ukraine. That might soon change. Ukrainian officials assess that North Korea has additionally deployed 20,000 to 30,000 troops to Russia, though the number could be lower, a senior Western diplomat told, citing Ukrainian intelligence. Russians are going crazy. They saw IDF special forces in Odessa. The IDF commando was given an Israeli flag on his tactical backpack and a beret from the Sanhanim paratrooper brigade, Ukrainian military expert Alexander Kovalenko said. Russian publics are already spreading a fake about elite Israeli paratroopers arriving in Odessa. But there is a nuance. The fact is that the Ukrainian airborne troops, just like many armies in the world, have airborne units, have dark burgundy berets, maroon. USA, Poland, France, and of course, Ukraine. The expert added, apparently it was a paratrooper from the 79th Airborne Assault Brigade who was captured at the bus stop, not Sanhanim. But the funniest thing is, of course, a Special Forces soldier from the elite Israeli paratroop brigade, Sanhanim, is sitting at an Odessa bus stop and waiting for a minibus. How did the generators of this nonsense even manage to fit together such incompatible puzzle pieces? Kovalenko asked. According to him, overall, this is a clear example of the ignorance of the basic material of Russian fake generators, who probably still think that Ukrainian paratroopers have blue berets. The extra chromosome does its insidious work. Recall the Paratroopers Brigade is an elite infantry brigade in the Israel Defense Forces. The brigade is under the command of the Central Command and is subordinate to the 98th Paratroopers Division, also known as Utzbat Ha'esh, a reserve service infantry division in the Israel Defense Forces. Soldiers of the Paratroopers Brigade wear a red beret and red boots. To distinguish themselves from other units, paratroopers wear tunic-styled uniform shirts with a belt on top, in addition to the belt they wear on their pants. Selection tests for admission to the Paratroopers Brigade are held twice a year in April and December. Candidates undergo various physical tests, such as running with sandbags and with a stretcher. Candidates must also demonstrate certain characteristics, such as responsibility, initiative, ability to improvise, etc.